What up? Today we're going to be checking out some celebrity tattoos. Disclaimer, everything we say is going to be just my opinion. Take it with a grain of salt. I hope everybody we talk about in these videos and everybody watching and everybody on the planet loves their tattoos. But just because you love them doesn't mean I love them. And I think celebrity tattoos are really interesting because these are people with a ton of money. And truth be told, I'm broke. You're probably broke too. So it can be kind of funny to look at people with a lot of money, see what they're getting tattooed. Because if there's one thing I've learned in the past decade of getting tattoos, it's that money can't buy taste. Which is exactly why we're checking out the best and worst celebrity tattoos. And before we even start, just to make sure you understand that I am a credible person to be talking about this, let me show you something. I'm wearing my cheetah print slippers right now. And if that didn't convince you that I know ball, you probably got bad taste. I'm joking, kind of. Let's begin. Oh, actually, before we begin, I kind of divvied this up into two categories, musicians and athletes. We're going to start with musicians. We're going to start with somebody who I think has a lot of good tattoos and a lot of bad tattoos. That's Post Malone. In this photo, we can see quite a bit of his work. He's got a lot of black and gray realism stuff, which looks okay. My biggest critique when I look at his entire collection of tattoos is that I don't really see a lot of tattoos. It just looks like he has a lot of tattoos. I can't tell what a lot of things are. He obviously has a lot of portraits. He has some football helmet. None of this stuff really looks incredible. None of it looks too bad. Now let's check out his hands though, because his hands I actually really like. I'm a huge fan of the barbed wire he has on his knuckles. It looks like it was done pretty well. The placement looks really perfect for me. But the portraits and the lettering on his fingers are out of this fucking world. No, dude, the lettering looks really, really good. I have my wife's initial on that finger. These look way better. I don't think I've ever looked at these this closely. These are really fucking good. Are they gonna look like that forever? No. Do I care? No. And the last thing I want to talk about for Post Malone is his face and head tattoos. I'm gonna make a claim here. Best face tattoos of any celebrity of all time. This sort of like geometrical black work mandala looking thing on the top of his head is really sick. I love where it ends in relation to his hairline. The barbed wire on his forehead is fucking awesome. I fucking love the Japanese finger waves on the side of his head. They're like super minimal. They just look so fucking cool. Does he have, he has padlocks as earrings. I like all his tattoos and they're all pretty well done too. And that's actually something important that I should have mentioned earlier. I want to talk about the objective and the subjective qualities to a tattoo because subjectively I can look at his tattoos and be like, I love these. These are my favorite tattoos on anybody. They just look good. I like how they look. They're things I would consider getting. That's subjective. That's entirely opinion based. That's just my personal bias right there. But then objectively, all the lettering and the portraits on his fingers are very well done, but they're also going to look like shit eventually. That is a more objective quality to the tattoos, not really something that's up for debate. Just an important distinction to make. Let's keep going. Who else do we have? Let's look at Miley Cyrus. She just released a Hannah Montana thing recently, I think. I saw my wife watching it. She has some pretty sick tattoos. I'm actually into her tattoos. Let's start with this photo of her back. So she has a few different styles going on in here. She has a couple things that are just what I would call line work. They look very Pinteresty. Not necessarily a bad thing. I just see a lot of shit like that on Pinterest. But what I really want to talk about are her, like, we'll just say fine line. Use that pretty broadly there. Some script, more realistic looking stuff, like this motorcycle on her shoulder. It's a random ass spot for a motorcycle. I think it's cool. The dagger going through the heart on the back of her right tricep is fucking sick. The rose on her left tricep is fucking awesome. I really like that. Her like tramp stamp tiger dragon coral situation is kind of sick. It's like the motorcycle too. It's kind of like a weird shaped tattoo to be in this spot, but it was well done, so who fucking cares? If we look at this photo on her arm, we see a lot more of this kind of like sticker sleeve vibe. Subjectively, I hate it. I don't like what's going on here. It almost feels like a waste of space, but I think objectively, these all look like really well done tattoos. They look good. They were done with intention. And I do think that tattoos like this are a really great option for people who are more interested in tattoos, but don't want to be like tattooed like I feel like I want to be. Maybe I should be rating their tattoos. Let's put a number on. I'm going to give Miley Cyrus's tattoos a 9 out of 10. I think they're fucking awesome. And if I had to rate Post Malone's tattoos, I don't know. His I was about to say 10, but his torso is kind of wild. I'm going to give his hands and face a 10 out of 10. Maybe 10.5 out of 10. And everywhere else on him, I'm going like 7. Yeah, okay, we're having fun now. We're having fun. Let's do Adam Levine. Adam Levine's such like a fucking goon. Is that the word I'm thinking of? Goober. Wasn't he like in some scandal? He was like DMing people like that body crazy or something weird. I don't know. He seems like a bit of a weirdo. But if we're gonna just look at his tattoos, Adam Levine actually has some pretty good tattoos. I don't think he's that great of a guy necessarily. He's a kind of given like weirdo for sure, but he's got some sick stuff. It looks like both of his sleeves are Japanese. I think that's really sick. I love Japanese sleeves. They look like they were done okay. I can't really see too well in this photo, so won't touch on that too much. And then for all these like more traditional looking pieces on his torso, these all look like they were done, I would say, super well. They look solid. They're nothing incredible. They're not one of a kind. I don't think they necessarily need to be. My tattoos aren't either. I like the placement of all these tattoos on his torso. They look really evenly weighted, which is something I really like in tattoos. I don't necessarily love things being perfectly symmetrical, but if you can place things in different ways to complement what is on the other side of your body, I think that ends up looking really cool. That's kind of what he has going on here. As far as the California on his stomach, I just don't like the font he picked. Also, California is, I don't know, it's pretty goofy. Any belly rocker is just kind of goofy, but in like a cool way. The last thing I want to say is I do like this mix of traditional styles, both Japanese and American traditional. I think they look good together. I think he's got a great collection here. I got to give Adam Levine's tattoos a 9 out of 10. What next? What next? Let's do Lil Peep. I don't have a ton of Lil Peep photos pulled up. I actually just have this one. I know he has some pretty crazy tattoos elsewhere on his body, but I think he's most commonly known for having these face tattoos, and he's definitely in the conversation if we're talking about most iconic face tattoos of all time. He's up there for sure. The crybaby over his eyebrow, it's timeless. It's timeless. He's obviously not the first person to get some nice looking text up here, but it looks good nonetheless. And crybaby, a cool word to put there. It's pretty fucking cool actually. The star under his eye, I hate the placement on that. I hate what that horseshoe looking thing is right there. Not into those at all. The rose is kind of weird too. The anarchy, the broken heart, and the star on the other side of his face, those are pretty sick. And just because it's in the photo, let's talk about what else is going on here. It looks like he has, who's that? Lisa Simpson on his throat. That's insane. The Pink Panther. Can't see what the other side is. Of course, right underneath Daddy. I don't even know what to say about that one. But dude, the crybaby, that's a fucking winner right there. I'm going to give Lil Peep an 8 out of 10 for those tattoos. Let's do Harry Styles next. I am personally a very big fan of Harry Styles in general. As a person, I was really into his fashion stuff, just like how he dressed back when I was in college a long time ago. Definitely was rocking some skin tight jeans and Chelsea boots and a big fucking hat. I'm not showing you a photo of that. But I also think he's one of the reasons why I started getting tattoos. So I am going to be a little biased here, but I think he has one of the best collections when it comes to celebrity tattoos. Let's start off by checking out this photo. This outfit is out there for sure, but it shows off a lot of his tattoos really well. Let's talk about the torso. These two swallows up here, super traditional, very classic placement. Same thing with this moth on his stomach, and then not pictured in this photo. I'll throw another one up for you though. He has these ferns in like his V thing, whatever that's called. Felt kind of gross calling it that. Those are all really classic placements in traditional tattooing, and I think Harry is a big reason why tattoos like that and placements like that became even more popular and became even more mainstream. I don't think a lot of regular people know that those are super common placements, but he certainly helped popularize it after he got those. Now for this left arm, all these tattoos are sick. I like a big mash of styles. They don't go together at all, but they fill the space pretty well. I love this anchor and the placement down by his wrist. The rose on the outside of his forearm looks super sick. The anatomical heart on his bicep looks great. The coffin nails. I've always liked that ship tattoo he has. I've always liked that solid black heart that he has, probably covering something up. He's got a couple random other little tattoos mixed in there. I don't care much for a Pink Floyd tattoo or the outline of a guitar, but they look fine with all these other tattoos going on, and they don't distract from anything. So last thing we should touch on is the back of his arm. He has this portrait of a skeleton, these hands shaking, silver spoon underneath that. All those tattoos are fucking cool. I think Harry has a great collection. I think he has great taste. No wonder his tattoos look so good. I'm going to give him a 10 out of 10. Now, let's check out Lady Gaga. She actually has a pretty sick collection as well. We're going to start with this tattoo on the inside of her arm. This is a classic spot for tattoos to blow out. And you can see this blew out pretty badly. There's that bluish gray haze around all these words. You can't read them at all. They blew out really badly. They're also not in English, so that's another reason why you probably can't read them. But regardless, not a great spot for text. This one's a bit of a bummer. Not a good tattoo. She has what kind of feels like a bit of a random collection around her left shoulder blade. She has these not so good looking sunflowers, maybe. This heart. I can't tell if that's some sort of lettering up there. I have no idea what this symbol thing is. It kind of reminds me of like a Celtic knot type of vibe. Those are all pretty bad looking tattoos, but this hand doing whatever it is, I think I have another photo of that. Nope, I don't. That is a very well done tattoo. That looks fucking awesome. Big fan of that tattoo. And this sort of patchwork thing on her shoulder blade continues down onto her ribs where she has this portrait of Bowie. Very well done. That anchor's obviously fucked, and whatever is beneath Bowie is pretty fucked too. She has actually a pretty solid mix of good and really bad tattoos. If I had to rate her tattoos, I think I would go with a 7 out of 10. Now let's hit another very iconic celebrity, Justin Bieber. I think Justin Bieber has some of the worst tattoos, but I don't know why. I kind of fuck with what he's got going on here. His torso is such a mishmash of all sorts of random shit. He has this very ugly looking lion tiger cross in between them. I know a few guys in high school who got this exactly to copy Justin Bieber. Terrible, terrible idea. These look so bad. But as we work down his torso, I honestly really like what's going on. I can't tell what is behind this son of God, but it looks fucking cool. And I like the text. I like the lettering. It looks sick. I like that it's on top of some other shit. The eagle's pretty cool. I really like the purpose above his belly button. All the filigree down below it looks pretty nice too. His arms are a mess. They're covered in awful tattoos. But I kind of fuck with his stomach, I guess. He also has a lot of fine line stuff on the neck. He has this patience going down the side of his neck, angel wings on the back of his neck, and then he's added what looks like to be a fine line rose. I think he also has some other stuff too. I am clearly influenced by that decision. I think fine line stuff on a neck is very flattering. And personally, as someone who has a lot of very bold tattoos, I didn't necessarily want to jump straight to that with a spot like my neck. So I figured I can get more fine line stuff, ease my way in, see how I'm feeling about that, and maybe I get some bolder stuff later, maybe not. But his neck tattoos, I think, were really influential. They're all very well done. They look fucking cool. I'm going to give Justin Bieber, I'm going to give his neck tattoos a 10 out of 10, his stomach a 10 out of 10. Everything else is getting like a 2 out of 10. And the last musician we're going to talk about is Ed Sheeran. I did talk about him recently, so I'm going to keep this very quick, but Ed Sheeran has some of the worst tattoos I've ever seen, objectively and subjectively. He is single-handedly responsible for why people associate tattoos with coloring books or a scribbled on desk. I'm sorry, it's just true. I'm sure most of these tattoos are highly meaningful, very personal. I'm sure he has great stories behind them. I'm very hopeful that he is in love with all of his tattoos, just like I hope anybody loves their tattoos. That doesn't make them look any better. Subjectively speaking, I don't like the style of any of these tattoos. They don't feel like tattoos to me. They feel like a kid scribbled with crayons. They don't really fit into any sort of typical tattoo style, and that doesn't make them look any better, in my opinion. And objectively speaking, all of these look like shit and were done very poorly. It's very patchy. None of this looks like it was done well. I don't think he ever has gotten a tattoo from a reputable, well-respected, talented tattoo artist. I don't know how that is the case. I don't know when he got a majority of these tattoos, whether he had money then or not. But either way, terrible taste. I have to go 2 out of 10 on these. Again, hope he loves them. They're just fucking ugly. And really quick, before we continue, I just want to say thanks for watching. If you're liking the video, smash the fucking like button. If you want to see more videos, subscribe. Let's continue on with our, what are we doing? Oh, athlete tattoos. Okay, things are going to get worse now. We're going to start off with LaMelo Ball. By the looks of his tattoos, he knows ball. Honestly, he has maybe my favorite tattoos out of any NBA player. I think a lot of NBA players end up getting tattooed when they're really young because they see older players and people around them being really heavily tattooed, and that's what they need to do to fit in and make it to the NBA. That's just a part of what's happening, in my opinion. But I feel like they just end up in the NBA already covered in tattoos. LaMelo Ball is one of the ones who got tattooed later. He saved his skin, and I think it really shows. I mean, these are big kid tattoos. These are legit tattoos. They don't look like the random ass shitty clouds that every NBA player has. These are different. They stand out. They're well done. They look good. I like that. It just seems like he thought critically about them. Like he made decisions. He went to a good artist. He didn't just get what everybody else got. Yeah, red's kind of trending and stuff, and the subject matter is a little whatever, but they're beast. They're sick tattoos. Props to him for getting some sick ass tattoos when it seems like no other NBA player is doing that. We got to talk about Khalil Ware's Humble Beast tattoo. God, you can't. You can't get a Humble Beast tattoo. That's so dumb, dude. Oh, this is like exactly what I think of when I think of NBA players getting really heavily tattooed before they're, I don't know, like old enough to be making good decisions. His tattoos are just classic NBA player, really bad. He's got almost an entire sleeve of some very awful looking clouds. And then on the other arm, Humble Beast. Every time I watch a basketball game that he's in, I can't help but see it. All of his tattoos, I think, objectively are very poorly done. They don't look like they were done by really good artists. And this is really common among NBA players. It happens more often than it doesn't, I guess. If I had to rate his tattoos, I'm giving him a 6 out of 10. You can't get a Humble Beast tattoo. A Humble Beast wouldn't do that. Oh my God, I forgot about this. Okay, we got to talk about Dennis Rodman's tattoos. He has some of the best and worst tattoos out of any NBA player there ever was. Absolutely diabolical tattoos. This is what a big majority of his tattoo collection looks like. He has a lot of tribal stuff, which personally, huge fan of. I think it looks really fucking cool. He's got a couple of these like nautical stars. Those look sick. The bowls on his chest are really dope, and they look like they were really well done. All the stuff on his arms is a little more questionable, but his back tattoo, I don't think, I'm going to have to blur out part of it for sure, just because I want to show you a little bit of it. I really can't show you much of it. Oh, God damn, dude. Psycho. Absolutely insane. I don't think you should be allowed to get a back tattoo. Like, so weird, man. Oh, that's so weird. You can't do that. You can't do that. If he didn't have the back tattoo, I would give his tattoos maybe an 8.5 out of 10. But with the back tattoo, dude, you're at a 3. That's some weird shit. You can't do that. So crazy. Who next? Let's check out David Beckham's tattoos. I don't really care to even talk about his sleeves. It's just classic athlete, black and gray. Kind of mid tattoos, not done very well. Not the worst tattoos you've ever seen. Classic. The second you start getting money, you get get in full sleeves. Not a great idea. I just want to talk about his back tattoos. I think that the Romeo Cruz Brooklyn sounds like some kind of alphanumeric code, some secret military shit. They're the names of his kids. I think it's sweet. I like that. I think it's cool to get names tattooed on you. Just kind of weird placements for them, I feel like. Like Romeo, obviously the most important child. Cruz is kind of somewhat important in Brooklyn, and as a tramp stamp is really really weird. I also think it's funny that the back of his neck he has a cross with wings, and then right below that he has what looks like Jesus Christ with wings. Those are essentially the exact same tattoo, just one smaller, and they're right on top of each other. They look super weird. I don't know why you would get identical tattoos right next to each other like that. A lot of religious tattoos on this man. Just because they're religious and have meaning doesn't mean that they were well done or look good for that matter. Oh, let's move on to Nyjah Houston. Dude, I don't know what it is with like athletes and getting black and gray tattoos. Just like seems like that was the only option for athletes. Like no matter the sport, it's like you guys are only getting black and gray tattoos. Just an interesting observation. Now, Nyjah is tatted, okay? He is the definition of tatted. The dude has a fuck ton of tattoos. Nyjah's just such a cornball too, but like objectively speaking, a lot of these look really, really good, really well done, especially some of these things he got when he was older. You can tell like some of these more finer lined things on his ribs. Those are super well done. Even the clock, rose, compass, like holy shit, dude. He just went into the shop and was like, "Yo, let me get some tats, please." Really basic stuff. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of what I would expect, I guess, from somebody whose entire life was skateboarding. I don't even think you got time to get into other shit. You just know you want some tats, you get some tats. I don't know. I guess it makes sense. They're really fucking stupid, though. It's hard to argue with quality, though. They look good. All these are some solid tattoos. Good work, Nyjah. You're a fucking goofball, but I got to give you a 10 out of 10 for these tattoos. Did I rate David Beckham? For David Beckham's tattoos, if I had to rate him, I'm giving you like a 2 out of 10. Dude. These are dumb as hell. Okay, here we are. We did it. You knew this one was coming. The most iconic face tattoo of all time. I believe so. That's what I'm saying. That's my claim. Mike Tyson. Bro. Fuck yeah, dude. A sick tattoo. I fucking love this tattoo. I think everybody recognizes this tattoo. It's pretty incredible to, I don't know, just reach that level of fame. Not only fame, but just like everybody knows that that's Mike Tyson's tattoo. It's really crazy. It's really, really crazy. I don't think there's ever been any other tattoo in the history of the world that has that level of fame around it. I also have heard a few times that he wanted hearts, like a couple of hearts around his face. And whoever ended up doing the tattoo talked him into doing this tribal thing. I don't know if that's credible or not. That's the rumor, though. If he got hearts, that certainly would have been way stupider. Mike Tyson's face tattoo gets a 10 out of 10. I mean, come on. Now we have one more athlete's tattoos to admire. This is Iwa Swoboda from Poland. She was in the Olympics. She does some kind of running or something. I didn't look into it. We're talking about tattoos here. Who cares, really? She's an athlete and she has tattoos. And subjectively speaking, personal bias here, she has the best tattoos I've seen on any athlete. Okay, I remember seeing her in some commercial or something when the games were on. I was like, what? Are you kidding me? I was saying earlier, it's so common, I feel like, that athletes end up getting black and gray tattoos. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just because everybody before them did it, so they do it. I have no idea. I have no idea. But she has traditional tattoos, which obviously I fuck with. And I just thought it was fucking cool that she has traditional tattoos. I don't think I've ever seen any athletes with traditional tattoos before. Also, just these types of traditional tattoos, just solid black, really chunky. I mean, that's what I fuck with. That's my shit right there. Iwa Swoboda, best tattoos on any fucking athlete. I'm gonna say it. Traditional tattoos look good on everybody. They're just fucking sick. Looks like she has a mandala on her hand. I don't love it, but Who fucking cares? She has some beast tattoos. The solid black rose silhouette is not good. I did that one somewhere. Did I cover it up actually? Where is that? Oh, there it is. Yes. So fucking stupid. Oh, God. Don't get that tattoo. But get some fucking traditional tattoos, dude. These are so sick. That's what's up. Fuck yeah. I'm giving her tattoos a 10 out of 10. That, my friends, is it. Those are all the celebrities I could think of that have a ton of tattoos. If you enjoyed this video and want me to do another one, comment a celebrity. I'm pretty out of touch with celebrities and shit, so I don't know of many more besides the ones that I named in this video. And if you liked the format of just doing something different than reacting to TikToks, let me know too. Give me some feedback. Please give me some feedback. I don't know what I'm doing. But on that note, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. I can't wait to talk to you next week. And until then, peace.